What's up, guys? We got a bit of a different angle, as you can see. I'm just on my way home from work. I got a bit of a 45-minute drive, like a 40-minute drive, so I figured I might as well use that time and fill it up with something useful. And so I grew up watching Matt Farah and Chris Harris. Those, kind of my idols. And I thought I'd rip a little bit after them and do kind of a one-take style, just kind of ramble and talk about whatever's in my head, car-related, obviously, mostly, or bikes, whatever. So I thought today we'll get into it like easy, like an easy topic, something that I can obviously talk on pretty no sweat, like a WRX versus an STI type idea. Just mostly because, like, when I got this car, I'll give you a bit of background. Well, yeah, I'll give you some background first. So a few years ago, I had an 05 STI, and I still have it, and I'm rebuilding it, as you can see on the channel. And then I got this WRX. It's an 08 WRX, which is just a daily. STI, I got it basically stock with an exhaust, and this car I got like with an exhaust, same thing, but the STI is kind of transformed into a little bit crazier. It's a pretty built motor and bigger turbo, the normal stuff, right? So I got a bit of background I can kind of give a half-decent opinion on if you're kind of debating one, or what should you do, like what's the differences between the two. Yeah, I guess I'll start off with the WRX because it's what I'm driving. And this is the reason why I kind of wanted to do it since I got this car, because this car surprised me so much. I was definitely like a WRX, not a hater, but I was unsure of the value of a WRX over other vehicles in the market. And since I've driven it, so yeah, this is an 08. So the 08 is generally considered to be like the softest, looks the worst, and it's got the smallest turbo, so it's kind of all around the worst sports car. But for me, it's been a great daily. It's soft, right? Like I just said, so it handles bumps really well. I live in Newfoundland, so we got a winter climate. Our roads are rough, and we get lots of snow. So I think I'll enjoy the soft suspension in the snow. The car's got it's almost more enjoyable than my STI, because the way it plays and moves, you can really transfer the weight and stick a car in a corner, kind of upset it with the wheel, flick it in like a Scandinavian flick, and the car will kind of set, and it's got just enough power to keep the wheels lit, and you can have some fun in the snow. Obviously the interior is much nicer than my 05, so 08 up has got a more modern interior, which is real nice. It's just basic stuff, heated seats, but the stereo is actually good. The stock head unit's not that good at all, but replacing the head unit is no sweat, and I've done that, so I have one laying around. But the stock speakers are awesome, actually. They're probably, in this category, the best stock speakers I've ever heard. I think this is a premium. It's got the tweeters in the doors, so I'm assuming it's a premium with an updated or upgraded sound system than a bass, I guess. I believe you can get a lower stereo than this. This one had like satellite radio and stuff like that, which is all gone now. So as a daily, the interior is nice. 08 up is obviously a wagon. They came in sedans later, but this one's a wagon. The wagon's awesome. This is my first wagon I've had as a daily, and it's incredible. You can put so much stuff in the back. Camera gear, I put car parts in the back of this all the time. I'm excited for once riding season starts up to put a hitch on it and tow my bike around and put lots of bike gear in the back. It's got decent cargo room in the back, so as a daily, the WRX is awesome. And really, that type of stuff you can kind of tell yourself, because you can look at pictures and you can see what's going to fit you. Hatch versus an old sedan or a wagon, or STI versus WRX. The interior wise and all that stuff is the same. So that's something that's pretty easy to figure out on your own. But get back to it. What surprised me is the driving characteristics. Like I said, this WRX feels playful. 08 up, they got rid of the limited slip dips front and back. There's a limited slip center diff in a WRX, but front and rear are open diffs, and it uses the VDC, vehicle dynamics control. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So it's like brake vectoring, so it applies the brakes on the wheel that's spinning up faster, and it fakes a diff. I hate that. That's one of my worst gripes about this car. It makes me angry all the time. So pressing traction control off does fully turn it off, which thank God, because it'd be a nightmare if it didn't. You have to be pulling fuses and stuff. So it does disable it. I've read online it doesn't disable the vehicle dynamics control, and it's kind of hard to tell because using brakes to fake a diff doesn't really work unless you're into like some real high dollar stuff. McLaren seems to be doing a half decent job with an open diff. Obviously, they got, you know, the best technology in the world. Probably, you know, they're up in the supercar territory. But in these cars, brake vectoring, I'm not sure. Maybe the brand new ones, because the new STIs, I believe, have a more of like an actual brake vectoring where it applies the brakes on a corner to help control the pitch of the car. So this is not really brake vectoring, but it does fake diffs, and it doesn't really work. If you in snow, this car has no problem spin the wheels and it'll slide sideways, be playful. In wet conditions and any bit of like dry pavement, it'll do the one wheel peel. It doesn't. It's not like an STI. An STI, all the time, if you put your foot into it and if it's got enough power to spin the wheels, you're going sideways. Like that STI got a really diffs really transform that car, and we'll get to the STI in a second about how big of a difference that makes. But that being said, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's had the reason why I hate it so much is it's kind of melted my brakes a little bit. I had some cheaper rotors on this because it's my daily, and I'm never like hard on the brakes. So I never drive fast or crazy, obviously. So I'm never hard on the brakes myself, which is surprising because since I've had the car, the rotors have definitely warped. They're gonna have to be replaced soon. There's a heavy pulsation in the brakes, and that's got to be because of that system, because I'm not hard on the brakes. I know I'm not hard on the brakes. No calipers are stuck because I've checked them myself, and I had the car inspected, obviously, to get it put in my name. That's how it goes in Canada. So it's been, you know, the brakes are good, but they've been overheated by this VDC system. And other than that, the block is the same. So like WRX versus an STI, the short block is the same. From everything I've gathered, it's identical. The heads are different cams and stuff. So it's pretty similar to the STI in that regard. I got kind of a hunch that maybe the WRXs should have a bit of a better life in terms of ringland failure. Obviously, these turbo STIs and WRXs have like common ringland failure. All the ringlands fail in all of them. I think this car should be better because you're running lower power on a similar block. It should be better. You know, just provided you take care of the engine, you warm it up, you don't load it up high on the highway, because I'm on the highway now. If I'm in fifth gear, if I just put my foot into it, it's high load on the engine. You know, it's situations like that. If you avoid, I think you can really prolong a WRX engine for a while. And then I guess so you can talk about power level. WRX is obviously, or STI, sorry, is 300 horsepower. These are what, like they're rated 260s, maybe something like that from the factory. This car's got a torque performance tune, catted downpipe, and then cat back. So online they claim like, I don't know, maybe 280 wheel is from what the information I can gather on an 08. Obviously 09 up has got a VF52 turbo, so it's bigger turbo, and you can get some more boost out of that, a little more power. I actually don't know the gain. I'd guess probably maybe 15-20 horsepower up on this, because it's a decently bigger turbo. But this, like, getting back to it, this is an awesome daily because this turbo spools right off the bottom. It's crazy. I got big torque. It spools off like no RPM. It's awesome. My STI has got a big turbo on it, so I got really spoiled when I got in this. It's got that real like classic torque shove. Like it feels like, you know, you put your foot into it and it's like a big shove, and then it kind of dies off. That's just how it is. But for, like I'm saying, for daily ability, for if you want to have some winter fun, you want response, you want to have, you know, performance in traffic. Because I mean, I'm trying to get to the WRX first, but like the STI in like my car in particular, when it's modified with a bigger turbo, it's dead in traffic. I mean, dead. Like there's no power. There's no power. Like you pull away from the lights, and everything else is faster than you. And it's because it's got a Dominator 3 on it, so it's like on and off switch. Like you're either like lit up going fast, or like you're shifting gears and it feels like a Miata, or worse than a Miata. It's crazy, you know. So it's been really enjoyable to have a quick spool and turbo. It's just better, no question, for daily ability. So I mean, you can kind of see the what's the right word? The direction I'm going here is WRX is the daily. STI should be a race car. That's my opinion. If you're going to daily a car, don't buy an STI. You know what I mean? If you're gonna buy one of these, the WRX is more than good enough. Unless you plan to, obviously, another thing with the drivetrain is this 5-speed is weak. It's a really weak transmission. 07 down is weaker, and I believe like 02, 03 is the weakest. They've updated it, and I don't have all the information off the top of my head, but they've updated the transmission a couple times. I know 08 up has got like legacy gears, so they're a millimeter wider, should be stronger, right? These transmissions are supposed to be pretty good, enough for like where I don't feel worried about like exploding the gearbox on just like a stage 2 type power level and not launching it. I think it would stand up probably forever. Anything past that is you'll probably still, even on this gearbox, run into some issues. So if you're gonna have a street car, a legit daily, you're gonna buy this, do like a stage 2 type deal, do some visual modifications, just enjoy the car, and have a nice experience every day to get into. The WRX is awesome. It's awesome. It's all you need in the snow. STI, if you're in the snow, if you want to do some winter drifting like you see everyone doing on the internet, this will do it 100%, 110%. Like, there's some situations where the STI is nicer, but if you got in this, you wouldn't be disappointed. Like, no question. And like I said, I almost enjoy this even more because it's so playful. Because it's such a soft suspension. You get that kind of body roll, and it's got a bit of a playful character to it. All the Subarus are going to have, I shouldn't say that, but all the WRXs and STIs I've driven are going to have decent amount of understeer. I think the new chassis is good. 2015 plus chassis is much better, but the older ones, they got some understeer. My STI got some understeer. That's just how it is. So this car feels a lot like in my head, like an Audi. You know, from playing simulator video games, it feels like an Audi where you kind of huck it in, point and shoot, keep the throttle lit up, and you got to get it slid first before it'll hug a corner nice. You know what I mean? If you can try and take a corner properly, like hitting apexes and stuff in the snow in a low traction situation, it's probably going to understeer. It's just got that tendency. I guess some points to sum up: driveline's good enough, open diffs, bit of a nuisance, VDC, a little bit of a nuisance, engine's great, interior's great, sounds like a Subaru, that's kind of fun. Yeah, no complaints. Great daily, and I would recommend you buying one, actually, if you're willing to deal with all the potential reliability issues. So you know, all these Subarus are a mechanic's car. You gotta have at least some diagnosis ability and at least some wrenching ability, or pockets to pay someone, because there's something's gonna happen, especially if you're buying one with some miles. I mean, if you buy a 20,000 kilometer Subaru, as long as it's not destroyed, you're gonna be fine, obviously. But if you're buying something 100-something thousand kilometers, it's quite possible you're gonna have to do pistons. You know what I mean? Head gasket issues aren't really a problem on these turbo cars, but yeah, you probably might have to do pistons. So, and there's some, just other random stuff. You can damage the turbo. You gotta check the oil. The oil's you gotta be religious with your oil. You gotta check the oil, make sure the oil level's good. And if you don't have an air oil separator, which is an aftermarket thing you buy for the oiling system in these cars, you cannot overfill them. It'll, I had an access port for a while before I went open source tune, and I would monitor like all your knock values, when you're driving, and it would knock if you overfill on oil. I was a bit nervous first going because I had such a crazy experience with my STI, but don't modify them. Stage 2 is barely modified. I would barely even consider that modified. It's awesome. I'm happy with it. So I see we're creeping up on time. So let's rip through the STI quick. STI got the 6-speed, crazy gearbox, can't explode it basically. If you're worried about breaking it, you already know how to fix it anyways. It's got the electronically controlled center diff, which is awesome. And it really does make a difference, especially in my car. So 04, 05 were the most rear wheel bias. They changed the rear wheel bias 06 up. So there's a bunch of differences in the transmissions. Like 04's got different front diff, 07's got different ratios in the gearbox and a different final drive, right? So it's a bunch of different changes, and different years might be a better preference. But I like the 05 because when you spin the wheel to like its most open mode, it's not fully open. If you want to read about the diffs, it's pretty complicated, but it takes a minute to understand it. But the information's out there. So in its most open mode, it's really open. Like it'll light up the back wheels, and the front wheels will kind of stay, you know, barely pulling, right? It won't light up all four in its fully open mode. I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. And in its locked mode, it's pretty well locked. It feels close to 50-50, and you can kind of tell when you get the car stuck somewhere. If you get stuck in the snow and you kind of spin the wheel forward into the lock mode, you can tell it's putting way more power to the front wheels, and the front wheels will kind of spin almost the same as the rear wheels. Limited slip front diff, limited slip rear diff. My car's got the clutch pack rear diff, and it's an 05, so it's got the normal front diff. It doesn't have that sure track in the 04. So drivetrain's just awesome, and stock form, underpowered, obviously, not enough power at all. I'd barely consider it quick. You know, I would consider this WRX like, yeah, I would consider it barely quick at all, and an STI is about the same level as this now, because this is modified. So, but a stage 2 STI, actually I don't know. I never drove a stage 2 STI, so I guess a stage 2 STI might be quick. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a bit jaded with power and stuff, because in these cars, like 300 horsepower really feels like nothing. You got to upset the car to get the slide. Like, it's not going to step on you crazy. It's all pretty controlled. If you modify it to have a lot of power, or you're being aggressive with, you know, your steering inputs, and you're trying to get it to slide, it slides awesome. The differentials, like, you know, it's the STI drivetrain. It's bang on. In the wet, like if you know, you're in a bit of a corner and you put your foot into it, and if it lights the tires up, it's like slid out, no sweat. Like, you're correct that it's a crazy car to drive. I find it in the snow can be a bit more difficult to drive. I find, especially since my car has gotten modified, with the lag from the turbo, it's a difficult car to drive in snow. I could consider this one difficult to drive too. A rear-wheel drive car in snow would be much easier to drive. It's got a bit more of a predictable handling characteristic, because I'm quite used to handling these cars now. But I've driven with some people, I've been in the passenger, I've been right seat with some people who maybe necessarily aren't so confident, and even just myself, you can get caught out. You know what I mean? Especially with that understeer characteristic, you can go understeer and then put your foot into it, big oversteer. You know, like, it's got. Once you get used to the all-wheel drive driving style, it's okay, but you got to pay attention. It's not like a, you know, everyone will get like a pickup truck and slide that around, because it's easy to slide rear-wheel drive, and you're steering with your fingertips, long wheelbase, so it's really forgiving. It's not like that. You got to pay attention, and I find, especially in the STI, it'll really catch you off guard. It catches me off guard sometimes, so you got to watch it. You know what I mean? Obviously, the engine is what it is. Same engine as this. We already kind of discussed it, but it's just the typical STI engine. Best kind, just watch for ring lands, you know, if you're trying to buy one used. It's all simple stuff. They're not that scary. You just gotta have some knowledge, but they can easily be broken. It's not a Civic. They'll easily be broken if you're not paying attention or doing some bad things with them. I feel like it's a full-on race car. You know what I mean? Like, not really a race car, but it's a track car. I guess you can kind of say it like that. Because it's the car you should buy if you really do plan on autocrossing. It's the car you should buy if you plan on doing like road rallies and stuff, or if you want to drag race it, make some power. Obviously, you need the STI, because you don't want to be drag racing on a 5-speed. That's just, it's not going to end well for you. You know what I mean? So if you need a legit performance car, STI is the one to go. Just because drivetrain is just so rock solid. Brakes obviously are rocking on the STI. You get big 4 pots up front. The new one's got 6 pistons up front, which is crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, this is not a Subaru versus other cars debate, because I got some other opinions on that. I guess I'd like to say for the record, I'm not a Subaru guy. I just kind of ended up with this car, and I do love the 2005 STI. It's one of my all-time favorite cars, so that's kind of how I ended up in this situation. So I had that car, and then I got some parts cars, and then I got to a situation where I was able to get a better daily. So it just made sense to go with a WRX, because it fit all the boxes of what I'd like to have. It's perfectly laid out. If you really got to plan on tracking it. Even a WRX, I'm sure you could track this no sweat, especially one of the more updated ones. And a 2015 car, I'm saying, unless you're really gonna race it, I mean, like, you're almost to the point of like taking the seats out racing, I would get a WRX over an STI all day. the new WRX I've actually driven a good bit. Automatic is actually good because I've driven the automatic. They got a 6-speed now. I actually don't have any information on how durable that 6-speed is, if it's any more durable. I believe it is, because I think it might be like a 6-speed from the Forester, or I'm not sure. I shouldn't even say that, but it's got a different transmission. Engine's awesome. The FA20 is excellent in that car. It spools like off idle. It's crazy. Response is excellent. The chassis is awesome. Interior is way better. So I think if you're looking 15 up for a WRX versus STI, unless you're really racing it, I wouldn't even touch an STI. It just makes no sense to me. And styling, styling is what it is. It's sold because people buy them, but I don't think it's a good buy. If you're gonna ask me about it. But yeah, STI is obviously stiffer. STI, I'm not sure on the newer cars. I assume it's the same thing. Newer meaning 08 up, because they changed the suspension in the Imprezas. But I know on 05 years they've got aluminum arms and stuff, and the WRX has steel arms. STI has got the 5x114 knuckles, and it's actually not just a bolt pattern change. When I was doing my research on these cars, when I was looking to get one, 04's got like 5x100 hubs, and it's actually a different bearing. And apparently on those cars, people do have issues with the bearings being a little weaker. They kind of get a bit of flex, so the bearing will actually, it'll kind of flex. I guess maybe it's play, maybe they wear quicker. I'm not exactly sure, but it'll flex, and then the rotor moves. And what's the proper name? Pad knockback, I guess you would call it. So the pads kind of knock back as the rotor moves, and it touches the pads, and the pads knock back in the caliper. It spreads the caliper apart. Apparently, that's what I read. That's not a big thing. You don't hear it all the time, but if you dive into the research, I did find reports of that stuff. And if you're gonna buy an STI, it's a 5x114 HUD. It's just kind of cool. Just the idea they're a bit beefier. I don't think for anything besides, like, I don't know, even race use. I can't see it being a big deal. I can't see it, but it's got aluminum arms, and it's got stiffer suspension and stuff. So that's all nice. That's obviously desired. But I find even in the STI, I wouldn't put coilovers on it unless you're really doing like autocross or like flat, super smooth track, because I mean that's kind of true. For any car, I wouldn't put rock stiff coilovers on like these crazy, slam it and put it on like crazy spring rates, because the suspension travel really like works to keep grip on the road. If you're doing like road rallies where you need like functional grip, keep a thick tire, keep it kind of soft, and the STI does a good job of that. And it's really got a great characteristic on the road. It really grips, especially in like snow kind of conditions where nothing but irregularities in the surface. It works well for that stuff, right? So I mean that's kind of it. We talked engine, interior, drivetrain is what makes the two cars different, and yeah, that's my conclusion. STI if you're racing, WRX is a legit daily, and I'm not salty about them no more. I'm down with the WRX. I love it actually. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of this different style. I'm sorry it was a bit longer than I expected. Hopefully it's not too long for you guys. I like the ramble, so this is gonna be something just for me to entertain myself on the way home more than anything else. So see you guys next time. You can check out my social medias. I'll have them in the description. As always, just @CurtisWelshMedia. See you later.